She walked away from our love just days before the wedding to see her ex. 10 days later, she came back begging for a second chance, but I wasn't the same man anymore. I was 34 years old, and for almost 4 beautiful years, I had been in what I thought was a solid, loving relationship with a woman I truly believed I would spend the rest of my life with. Our connection had grown slowly over time, built on trust, laughter, and the shared dreams that we carefully wove together. After dating for 3 years, we took the next step. We got engaged. And for an entire year after that, we planned our wedding with excitement in our hearts and joy in our eyes. Everything was coming together. The venue was booked, invitations had been sent, our families were counting down the days, and even our dog had a tiny tuxedo ready for the wedding photos. It wasn't just a ceremony. It was supposed to be the beginning of forever. Then, just 5 days before the wedding, she sat across from me at the kitchen table with a strange look on her face. A kind of blankness I couldn't understand. Her eyes were distant, like she was somewhere else entirely. "I need to talk to you," she said. I nodded, expecting something minor. Maybe she was nervous. Maybe something was bothering her about the seating arrangement or her dress. I was ready to reassure her, hold her hand, and calm whatever fears she had. But what came out of her mouth next shattered every piece of the life we'd built together. "My ex called," she said softly, almost casually. "He told me he still loves me, and he wants to see me just once for closure." I blinked. My heart didn't break right away, it froze. I stared at her, trying to process those words. She repeated it as if it was no big deal. Just a casual lunch with a guy who had shattered her heart 3 years ago. I asked the only question that made sense to me in that moment. "If he loved you so much, why did he ever leave you?" She looked down at the table and said nothing. Not a word. The silence was louder than any scream could have been. I felt something crumble inside me, but I stayed calm. Not because I wasn't hurt or angry, but because I knew that if I raised my voice, I'd only add more damage to an already breaking moment. I got up and went for a walk. I needed to clear my head, breathe, just be alone for a moment. My mind was spinning, trying to understand what had just happened. But an hour later, my phone buzzed. A message from her. It read, "I don't think our marriage should happen." That was it.
No explanation, no emotion.
Just a flat statement that tore through me like a blade. When I returned to the apartment, she was sitting in the living room. Her eyes were red, like she'd been crying, but she didn't say a word.
No apology. No justification.
I didn't shout, I didn't beg. I simply looked at her and said quietly, "It's your life. Do what you want." I walked into our bedroom, packed a small bag, and left that night. I didn't sleep, couldn't. My mind was replaying her words over and over. The way she said it so casually, the fact that she had probably already decided before even sitting down to talk. And the most painful part? We were only 5 days away. People had bought plane tickets. Our families had taken time off work. Months of planning, thousands of dollars, countless hours of preparation. Gone, just like that. All for a man who had already left her once before. The next morning, I started making phone calls, canceling vendors, contacting the venue, trying to minimize the damage. Some things were refundable, others not. The photographer kept the deposit. The caterer took half. The venue offered a partial refund. In total, I'd already spent close to $20,000. My phone buzzed a few times that day, friends asking what happened. Her sister texting just WTF. But from her, nothing. No text, no call, no explanation. Just silence. I tried to keep it together, even as my heart felt like it had been smashed into 1,000 irreparable pieces. And as much as it hurt to admit, I still loved her. As stupid as it might sound to anyone else, I still had that love burning somewhere inside me. But something in me had snapped. The trust was gone. I didn't check her social media. I didn't ask around. I didn't try to chase her down or find out what she was doing. I just sat in that empty silence, trying to piece together what had happened to my life. Was I angry that she left me? Or was I more hurt by how easily she had done it? Like our years together had meant nothing. Like I was just a temporary plan she could cancel if something better came along. The rest of that week was a blur of cancellations, refunds, and emails. I counted the losses, almost $20,000 down the drain. I sent her a message, not out of spite, but fairness. Hey, since this was a joint wedding and you called it off, I think it's fair to split the non-refundable costs. That comes out to around $10,000 each. Let me know how you want to handle it. She replied with 4 words, "You're so cheap." That message hit me in a way that words usually don't. That tone, as if she was offended that I even brought up money. Like I had no right to ask for anything back after everything she'd done. I took a deep breath and replied, "Yeah, maybe I am cheap. So cheap that I'm only asking for half of what you threw away." She never responded, and I didn't follow up. I took the hit. I swallowed the loss. I added it to the growing list of lessons life had thrown my way, and then I moved on quietly, slowly, and alone. But I had no idea that just 10 days later, everything would come full circle, and she'd be back. Exactly 10 days after she walked out on me. I came home after a quiet day spent running errands, just trying to keep my mind busy. And when I opened the door to my apartment, there she was, standing right there in the hallway like a ghost from a life I was still trying to bury. Her eyes were puffy, her makeup was smudged, and she was wearing the same oversized hoodie she always stole from my closet whenever she wanted to feel close to me. It was the hoodie she wore when we watched movies on the couch, the hoodie she curled up in on rainy nights, the hoodie that, for a long time, meant safety and love. And now it just looked like a reminder of everything I had lost. "I made a mistake," she said immediately, her voice shaking. Her hands were clutching the sleeves of that hoodie like she was trying to hold herself together. "He used me," she whispered, tears already sliding down her cheeks. "He said everything I wanted to hear. He promised closure. He told me I was special. And the moment I told him I left you, he blocked me. He ghosted me. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought maybe I needed to know. Maybe he'd changed. But he's still the same person who broke me before. You were right. I messed up. I messed up so bad. Please, can we talk?" I didn't say anything at first. I just stared at her, feeling a strange combination of emptiness, bitterness, and exhaustion. Part of me wanted to yell, to scream at her for what she'd done. Another part just felt numb, like there was nothing left to feel. I stepped aside and let her in, not because I wanted to, but because I didn't want my neighbors hearing everything that was about to happen. She walked into the living room slowly, almost like she was afraid the floor might collapse beneath her feet. She sat on the couch, the very same spot where she'd once dreamed with me about our future. About kids, about traveling, about growing old together. And now, she looked like someone who had lost everything. She started talking, rambling, almost, repeating herself in different ways, saying she panicked, saying she was afraid, saying she didn't realize what she had until it was gone, that she thought I'd always be there, that she didn't really want him, she just needed closure, that she didn't cheat on me, not physically, but admitted she knew it still hurt just as much. She said she didn't think I'd actually walk away, that she expected me to fight for her, that she wanted to see if I still cared enough to chase her, that she had been so stupid, that I was the best thing that ever happened to her. When she finally stopped talking, she looked up at me with those tear-filled eyes and said softly, "I want to come back. I want us. I want to start over. I still love you. Please, give me a second chance." For a long moment, I just stood there, looking at her, trying to recognize the woman I had once wanted to marry. And I couldn't. I didn't see the woman I proposed to. I didn't see the future I had imagined. All I saw was a person who threw everything away on a whim, who risked our love for a fantasy with a man who had already left her broken once before. Then I spoke, calmly, quietly, but every word carried the full weight of what she had done. "Go to hell," I said. She froze, like she couldn't believe what she'd just heard. "Wait, what?" she whispered. "You don't get to come back just because it didn't work out with him," I said, my voice low but steady. "I wasn't your backup plan. You made a choice. Now live with it." Her mouth opened, like she was going to say something, but then she just stood up slowly. "I knew you'd say that," she muttered, more to herself than to me, and walked toward the door. I didn't stop her. I didn't say goodbye. I just watched her leave, silently, as if that chapter of my life was finally closing. I thought that was the end. But that same night, around 10 p.m., my phone rang. I didn't recognize the number, so I let it go to voicemail. A few minutes later, it rang again. This time I picked up. "Hello," I said, not knowing what to expect. "This is Angela," said the voice on the other end. It was her mother. I didn't say anything. I just waited. She took a deep breath and continued, "I know you're upset. I know she made a mistake. But please, she's not a bad girl. She's hurting. She's crying nonstop. She knows she messed up. But deep down, she's a good woman. She'd make a wonderful wife. Please, don't let this end." I actually laughed. Not out of cruelty, not to be rude. It just happened. That kind of hollow, almost disbelieving laugh that escapes when something feels so surreal you don't know how else to react. "Angela," I said, still calm. "With all due respect, she didn't just make a mistake. She destroyed everything 5 days before our wedding. Not for love. For curiosity. She threw away everything we built for a man who ghosted her before. And she came back not because she missed me. She came back because he rejected her. That's not a mistake. That's a decision. And there's a difference." There was a long silence on the other end. Finally, she whispered, "She regrets it." I could hear her crying quietly. "People do stupid things. You two were so good together. I saw how happy you made her." I took a deep breath and said, "Yeah, until she thought someone else might make her happier." Then I added, "I'm sorry, but there's no coming back from this." I hung up the phone. I didn't feel good about it. I didn't feel proud. I just felt free, like I'd finally let go of something that had been cracking underneath me for a long time. After that, there were no more messages. No more calls. I changed my number a week later. That chapter was over. Some friends were shocked that I didn't give her another chance. A few joked that I should have made her beg longer, that I should have let her grovel, milk the guilt, make her suffer. But that's not me. I don't need revenge. I don't need her regret. If you don't want me at my best, don't come running to me at your worst. I don't hate her. I don't wish her pain. I just don't want her anywhere near my life anymore. Months later, a mutual friend mentioned she had moved out of state. No one knew where. I didn't ask. I didn't care. I realized that sometimes karma doesn't come loudly. Sometimes karma is just a man learning his worth. A man finally standing up for himself and saying, "No more." Looking back, I came so close to marrying someone who didn't truly value me. Maybe she did once. Maybe she still does. But in the end, she valued her curiosity more than our love. And that was enough for me to walk away forever. I haven't dated seriously since, but I'm working on myself. I'm growing. I'm stronger now. And if she ever thinks about what could have been, that's not my burden to carry. Thank you for reading to the end. If you felt that story deep in your heart, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more powerful stories of strength, love, and letting go.